Very good morning, guys. So, in this class today, we are going to discuss a very important topic, that is HTTP status code. Okay. So, if you have the knowledge of the HTTP status code, then you will crack the interview very easily, because they will in 10 question. If interview will ask you 10 question, out of the 10 question, the 5 question will be related to the HTTP status code, because it is very important. The HTTP status code is very important in the real time in your project. Okay. So let I have shared my screen and started the recording last time. Let me call everyone. After then we can go ahead. And one more thing, guys, we have the demo class of performance testing on 15th August, right? So if anyone is interested, then let me know. Okay, the batch will start from the 21 August. The timing would be 4 to 6 p.m. Okay, for the performance testing class. So if anyone interested, then let me know. Yeah. Let me open the status. Yeah, where it is, where it is, where it is. Yeah, guys, you can. Yeah. So in this class, we are going to discuss the HTTP status code. Okay. So we have generally, if you talk about in the real time, 90% we are using only three status code. That is two 20 series, that is successful, 40 series client error, and 5 error series, that is server error. 99% we are using three status code in the API, in the REST API, in the web services. Okay. And we have other two also, like 100 informational message, right? And we have also redirection, but we are not using these two status code actually, right? So we are using only three, that is 200 and 400 and 500, right? So 99% in the real time we are using these types of status code. Okay. So if in the interview they will ask you what are the status code you have used, then you can ask him that you have faced 200 series, that is successful, 400 series, that is client error, 500 series, that is server error. So if you are getting 200 series, then that means that it is a successful status code. Successful status code means we are connecting with the server and server is giving me the successful response. Either delete, either update, either create, either get the data, either replace the data. If all these action is successfully performed, right, then server will return the 20 series. That is successful. Okay. Whenever you are not passing the things according to the request, or anything you are passing something like invalid, and you are getting 400 series error, then it is known as a client error, right? Whenever you are getting the issue from the server side, right, then you will get the 50 series, that is server error. Okay. So in the interview, sometimes they will ask you the question in the different way. Have you faced the client error? Then what did you understand by client error?
400 series.
I can't hear anything. So Surti, I think please check your network. Guys, are you facing any noise issue? Like, can you hear me properly?
Yes, yes, we can hear
Yes,
you.
sir.
Surti, I think you can rejoin the call. I think if you rejoin the call, issue will get resolved. Please rejoin, disconnect and rejoin. Then you can hear me properly. Okay? So please rejoin. Okay, let me call next time and last time actually. Because I don't want to miss anyone. Okay. So sometime what happened, the interviewer will ask you about the client error. So you are thinking, what is the client error? So you don't have to think. The client error means 40 series. Client error means 40 series. Sometimes they will directly ask you about the 40 series. Have you faced the 40 series? Then you can give the answer. But sometimes they will ask you, have you faced the client error? So client error means 40 series. Okay, so you don't have to worry. Sometimes they will ask you about the server error, right? So you don't have to surprise what is server error. Is I get in the while doing the testing or not? So you don't have to worry. Server error means 50 series. Server error means 50 series, right? So let's try to discuss one by one everything. Okay, which are majorly used in the real time. We can discuss all. Okay, so you can see it here 20 series, right? In the 20 series we have three types of status code: 200, 201 and 204. Along with the message, if 200 is displayed, you will see OK. When you will get 200, OK will display along with the 200. Okay, so I have started my server, or you can use any of the requirement which I have explained you. Okay, so I am using my local server actually. So yeah, this one is the local server data. Okay, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to get all employee data. I'm using local server data. Okay, guys, I have provided you multiple REST API services. Here you can see this is for the Go REST co.in, right? And this is for the local server which we have created. Okay, for the practice purpose you can also use your local server, right? And the GitHub also, right? And the Swagger also. In the Swagger we have multiple requirement, pay, order, right? So I have provided you sufficient example to you. It's up to you how you are doing the practice. Okay, so I'm going to get all the employee data. If I'm calling this request, if I'm calling this request, can you see the status code, guys? What is the status code?
200.
200. And when you hover your mouse over here, you can see the message. When you hover the mouse over the 200, you can see the postman asking to you a standard response for the successful HTTP request. The actual response will depend on the request method used. In a GET request, the response will contain an entity corresponding to the request. That means it basically asking you that you are getting the successful action. Whatever you are trying to do, I'm trying to do using get method, using this URL, I'm trying to fetch all the employees data, right? And when I'm get the thing successfully, can you see the message 200? That means the server, I'm getting the data successfully by the server. Okay, 200. So guys, tell me one thing. This thing is decided by the generally the client, and also the client also can't use some other status code, because if you are fetching any data, you have to use 200. This is the API protocol which you have to follow. So client also have to use 200, not 400, not 500. Okay, we have to use the status code according to the definition, according to the protocol. Okay, and the protocol is asking you, whenever you are trying to fetch the data, you will get the 200. Okay, same thing you will get it from the requirement also. Okay, so now 201 created. 201 created. So again I am explaining the same thing which we have already seen in the previous classes, right? So you can see, when I'm trying to create the data, what is the status code here? 201, right? 201. So guys, have you noticed the one thing? Along with the 200, OK is also displaying. Okay, so whenever developer is implementing this particular status code in his architect or in his code, then they have also used OK. With 200 you can't print created, or you can't print no content, something like no content. With 200 you have to print OK. Means I don't have to print, means developer who is implementing this application, developer has to implement this thing. Okay, we have to verify the status code along with the string value, and the string value is OK. Okay, when I'm trying to what happens, Surti? Can someone help me in setting change? I can't, you neither can see the screen. Have enabled all the incoming videos. Surti, I think you are not able to see my screen also. How I can? You can do the one thing. I thought she hear me, so that's why. Okay. So yeah, here you can see, when we are trying to create the data, 201 get created, right? Created, right? Here you can see we are doing the successful action, 201 created. So with 201 created should be displayed, right? Now guys, I have one basic question I am asking you, which I have multiple time I have repeat the same thing in earlier classes. So tell me, can we display the 200 OK here also when we are trying to create the data? Is this fine or wrong? Instead of 201, can I print the status code as a 200 OK or not?
No, because it is given by developer only.
No, developer can change the things or not. Basically, that thing I'm asking. So
yes,
he can change it, but there is a difference for 201 and 200.
okay, so let me clear this thing. I have already told you, when you are creating the data, this thing, the status code is decided by the client. Okay, so when you are trying to create the data, we can print the 201 created, because this thing is decided by the client, and same thing developer is implementing, right? If client want the 200 OK, then he can also print this thing here. They can use actually. Okay, in the case of post method, but in the case of in the case of get method, you have to only use 200, okay, not 201, because 201 is created and 200 is, either created, deleted. You can also print the 200, depends on the requirement. But if you are trying to create, this is the specific status code which the client can use, right? It is also not wrong if the client say 200, okay, you can also implement 200. But in the case of in the case of get call, it should be only 200, okay, not 201 created, even because 201 is for the created, but here you are trying to get the data. That's why in get call we can only use 200, okay. Even client will not give you the requirement. If you are using get call, please implement 201 or 204. It should be only 200, okay. But in the case of post, we can also use 201 or 200. So in the interview, they will ask you this type of question. Let's suppose you are trying to create the data. Can we print 200 okay or not? Yes, you can. If your client is asking, then you can print the 200 okay also, right? If client is asking 201 created, then created also 201 created. So you can print both the things. So in the interview, they will ask you when you are getting 201, right? So you have to ask when we are trying to create the data, you will get the 201 created. Okay.
Yeah, because by print you mean displaying the result.
Yeah, whenever we are connecting with the server, so you are getting the 201 actually, not printed. Actually, 201 will get it by the server actually, by the server. Okay. So in the case of post method, I am again repeating. In the case of post method, we can get 200 okay also and 201 created also, depends on the requirement. Whatever the requirement, we can the developer has to implement the same. Okay, in the case of get method, we can only use the developer has to only use 200 okay, not 201 created, because 201 is for the created, right? And 204, even we have 204 no content, so we can't also print, you can't also the server will also can't return 204 no content. It should be only 200 if you are using the get call.
Because what about patch, put and delete those stuff? That also should have only okay.
Yeah, I will explain you, ma'am, don't worry. Okay, so you will get this one right now. If you are trying to where it is, yeah, here you can see 204 no content, right? 204 no content. When we get the 204 no content, when we are trying to delete the data, when you are trying to delete the data, in that case you will get the 204 no content. Okay, or we can also print 200 okay, depends on the requirement, not 201 because it is for the created. Okay, you can print 204 or 200, depends on the requirement how they have you. So let's see what let's suppose I have created the data here 18, right? I'm trying to delete the data using the delete call. Okay, so 18 I have passed and try to send. You can see it here, I am getting 200 okay. So that should be also a fine. It is not an issue as per the requirement. Okay, and let's suppose here I am using one. Yeah, this requirement, let's suppose I am using. the PAT store requirement. Okay, I have created the data. So guys, you can see it here. When I'm trying to use this service, pet store swagger.io, okay, I'm using the post method. Can you see the status code here?
Yes.
Right here we are getting 201 in the different service, right? 201, and here in the Swagger you are getting 200, right? So you can't say when you start the testing in your project, when you get the project, then you will say, sir, you have explained me that when we are using the post method, you told me that you will get 201, but I am getting 200. Why? So you don't have to confuse actually, because this particular service they have used the requirement as a 201. That's why. And in the Swagger they have used 200. That's why it's printing 200. Clear concept. Okay. And you can see it here when I'm trying to get the order. Let me pass the order number here. Let me pass the order number here. Get by ID here. Sorry. Let me paste it here and try to call. Can you see it here in the get call? We are getting 200, not 201 or 204. Okay. Now what we are doing, we will try to delete the data. Okay. And let's see. Okay, 204. We are not. You can see it here in the delete call. We are getting 200. So in this call we don't have 204. Let me check other service. Okay, let me check the user's URL. Go rest.coin. Okay, and let me try to create the data here. Free and try to create. Sorry. Data get created, and let me copy this thing. Here you can see in this particular service they are using 201 for the create. So there is conflict, so you don't have to confuse. Okay, so
Because there's
yeah.
nothing like, and some protocol they are following, like standard developers have to follow.
No, they are following the standard, but it's optional. Either you can use 201, either you can use 200.
But like in this case, we need to then verify from the requirement sheet.
Yeah, exactly. Everything we have to verify from the requirement sheet actually. What the basically your requirement says, which we have already seen in the mapping sheet.
Means we need to verify status code also every.
Exactly, the status code is very important. When you are getting the response from the server, very first thing you are verifying the status code. After then you are verifying the body, the response body. The very first thing you are verifying the status code. After then the response body. I think I have already shown you the GitHub requirement. In the GitHub requirement I have shown you like how you can verify the status code. You will go to the GitHub. That's why I'm asking. If you don't do the practice, you will not get the thing. You GitHub requirement and go to the reference repository. Sorry, repository. I have to go repository. Give me a second. Guys, anyone facing network issue from my side? Actually, yeah. Here you can see. I told you the status code will also provided by the client, which you have to verify in the mapping class. Okay. Now let me copy this ID 2208 and go to the delete data and pass it here and try to check. Can you see it here? 204 no content, right? So 204 no content. When whenever we are doing any action, right, either delete, either delete, either update using patch or put method. If you are not getting anything in the response, let's suppose the client do not want to return any message after performing the delete action, the client do not want to return any message in the response. So in that case, generally they are using 204 no content, because there is no content in the response. That's why. Can you see the response here? No. Right? So that's why 204 no content. Right? And I have also told you that you will get the 200 also, because you are getting something in the response. In that case, you will get 200. Okay. Guys, no one can explain you this thing in the very detail by taking the multiple example. Okay. So, and same, if you talk about the delete is clear, right? I'm not asking only delete. I'm not asking only delete. Any action which we are doing, right, which we are doing, if you not get the client do not want anything in the response, in that case you will get 204 no content. And generally 204 no content, majorly 90% you will get in the case of delete method. You will get in the case of delete method, because data is get deleted. You don't want to print anything here. If the requirement is asking you have to print the message, something like data is successfully get deleted, user ID is successfully get deleted, in that case they will use 200 okay, like that. 200 okay.
In this, because code JSON object code is also present, like, so it only comes in this case.
Sorry, come again.
Like in body JSON object code is also present, key value pair. So it generally comes in this case when no content comes.
I didn't get you, sir.
Like in this case, you can see like in JSON
Which
object.
case? This
code.
case? In delete case, right?
Yes, in delete case, yes. So in this code
Okay,
is
so
also present
what?
in key value pair.
Okay, code you are asking here?
Yes, yeah.
No,
So,
this is basically, I told you, this thing is depends on the requirement actually. Ignore this thing. This message can be, anything. Depends on the requirement actually. You don't have to worry about this message. In your project, this message should be different. So in some, generally they have used code 200 because they want to print, right? But if they don't want to print, they can remove this thing, right? So this is not, you will get in the response if it is not part of your requirement.
Because it
Okay,
means
this message, response message, again I am asking you, this depends on the requirement, what client want to print. Okay, if client want to print anything here, then you will get a 200 okay. If client do not want to print anything in the response message, then you will get a 204 no content. Okay.
okay. Thank you.
Now, so I told you that any action which, in the case, guys, tell me, if we are using get call, can it is possible to return 204? Tell me. In the get call.
No,
By ID, if you go, we might get that one. By particular ID,
Why?
if you are
Why
trying.
ID? Why ID?
ID or any
If you are
particular
using,
string, if you are particular value we are trying to search, then we might get that one error. Because if we delete that record and then we are trying to fetch that record details, I think there is a
No,
possibility.
in that case, you will get some other message. Let's
Okay.
suppose this ID is not exist, right? And trying to send, you will get some other message 404. That is the different things. 404, not found. Okay, so generally, if you are using get call, if you are get the successful response, then there you will not get 204 no content, because in the get call, if it is successful, then you will definitely get the response. Then there is no meaning of 204 no content, right? So in the case of get, we will always use 200 okay. Okay, and in the case of put or patch, you will get 200 okay or 204. When we are trying to update, depends on the requirement. Let's suppose I am trying to update this data 2208 22. I'm trying to update this data 22008. Okay, and I'm trying to update. So you will get okay, I think I have deleted. Let me create the new data actually. 4 4 no 2212 2212. Okay, let me try to update. You can see here you are getting 200 okay. Okay, that means you are getting the successful response. You are getting the successful response, right? And the client do not want to print it here, like you are passing the ID, you are updating the data, and the client do not want to print anything in the response. Then they have to use 204 no content. In the case of patch or put, in the case of patch and put, you will 99% you will get a 200 okay. There is rarely 1 or 2% chance you will get 204 no content. 204 no content. Whenever the client do not want to print anything in the response, right? In that case, generally they are using 204 no content. Clear? Now this is all about the 200 success. Okay, now we are moving to the 400 client error.
Is there a code 206?
206. I have not used, but if you want to check, this is the URL and you can go it here, because in 99% in the real time, even I can say 100%, you will get only 3 status code. Okay, and if you want to check, so in the document I have provided the URL, and if you want to check the other status code apart from this is the URL. You can go it here and you can check. Yes, we have also 206. Okay, you can see it here, the partial content. Okay, so you can see the majorly used in your REST API, that is the strict mark here. You can see it here, which is majorly used in the real time. 200 okay, and 201 and 204. And one more thing, I have also in one project, in one of my request was there. Okay, so I also get the 202 accept. 202 accept. Okay, to 202 accept means, let's suppose we are trying to update the data, and it is accepted by the server, right? So instead of 200 or 204, you will get the 202. as per the requirement. Same behavior, which is like similar like 201, similar like 204 and 200. Accepted. It is accepted by the server. Whatever the action you have did, it is accepted by the server, right? So you will get 20020 what is 202 accepted here, but depends on the requirement. If your requirement says, right? I think one small project I have worked on. So in that project, for one request, they have used the 202 accepted. That's why I know this thing. Okay. But apart from that, you have the other also, but you will not use in the real time. 100% I'm sure you will not get. Okay. And if you get, then I have provided you the URL. You can go through and check. Right. Yeah, move to the yes sir.
Input method, can we have 204 no content?
Yeah, I told you, no, input method or patch method, we can have 200 or 204. So when you are printing something in the response message, then 200. When you are, like suppose here we are printing something in the response message, right? The data gets successfully updated with the keys and value, it get displayed here. So you will get 200. Okay. When you are not the client one not print anything after updating the data, so you will get 204 204 no content. Same for the put also. Okay. Okay, let's move to the 400 client error. Okay, so what did you mean by the 400 client error, right? So what we are doing here, let's suppose creating the users, and I'm not passing the name here. I'm not passing the name here, let's suppose, because the name is, I think, mandatory. I think let's see it. Unprocessable entity. Okay. Okay. Unprocessable entity. I'm getting. Okay. Unprocessable entity. Create order. Let me go here and remove the page ID and check. The order get created. Something we have mandatory thing. Let me do that. Let me check that thing. Again 200. Okay, no. Add a pat store. No, this one has also in the git requirement, or in the git requirement even you can't get it. Okay. So what happened basically, let's suppose in the requirement which we have discussed, right, if in the requirement anything is mandatory, and what you are doing as a tester, you are not passing that mandatory thing into your body. You are not passing that thing, that mandatory thing into the body, right? So in that case, it is a bad request because you have not mapped the things properly. You have not mapped the things properly. If anything, you have not mapped according to your requirement, then you will get the 400 bad request when you connect with the server. Okay, so here what I did, I have removed the email ID. And try to call. So in the real time, you will rarely get this error message 422 unprocessable entity. Okay, generally you will get 400 bad request. Okay, but this service is using 422, right? So here, generally you will get 404. What scenario here I have applied, guys? I have not passed the email ID, and email ID is the mandatory. You can see it here. That's why you will get here 400 BAT request. Right. Let's suppose I am passing the email ID. I am passing the email ID, but name is missing. Right. For this particular service, the name is mandatory to create the users. Okay. When I call, you can see it here. You will again get the error message. And here you will get 400 BAT request. 400 BAT request. Okay, something like what you are doing here. Let me go to the requirement, and let's suppose what you are doing here. Okay, we have the Swagger requirement. Let me open the Swagger. Yeah, so Swagger requirement. I come to the Swagger requirement and go to the pet order and the model. Here you can see it here. The status is place, approve, or deliver. Right? So when you create the request body, you have to pass the status as a place, approve, or deliver. The three value you can pass, but you are the tester. You always try to break the things. Okay. So what you will do, instead of three enum value, you are passing some other value, which is not part of your requirement. Okay, so that means you are not mapping the things correctly. Agree or not? Right, guys? If you are not pass the correct value in the status key, then you are not mapping the things correctly. Then when you connect with the server, you will get the 400 BAT request. Okay, and the second thing, if you are anything, you have passed everything correctly, right, but you are not following the protocol to write the JSON body, right? Let's suppose you miss the comma. The first thing, you will get the compile error. If you not notice the compile error, if you connect with the server, 401 it's getting. Let me use my service. Let's suppose I am using this service and remove the bad syntax. Okay, can you see it here? 400 BAT request. 400 BAT request. The first thing which I have explained you, if anything you are not passing according to the requirement, like email ID is mandatory, you are not passing the email ID. Email ID is mandatory, you are not passing the email ID. Let's suppose they define the string and you are passing integer, right? Because you have not mapped the things correctly. Let's suppose they defined any particular value you have to pass, right? And you are not passing that value. In that case, you will get 400 BAT request. Okay, and in the second case, like if you are passing the wrong syntax, right? Let's suppose you miss the comma, or let's suppose you miss the column, right? So in that case, you will get the 400 BAT request. Okay, so BAT request, right? And you might have one question in your mind, that in some of the project you will not get the 400 BAT request. You are getting some other client error. Let's suppose instead of 400 you are getting like something like 422 unprocessable entity, or you are getting like 404 not found. 404 not found, right? So you will ask me that one question, sir, you have teach me that when you are not passing any value like correctly according to the requirement, let's suppose email id first name is mandatory and you are not passing that thing, so you told me that you will get the 400 bat request, but in my project, in my case, I am getting some other client error. Why? I'm getting some other client error. So why? So you don't have to worry. Generally, as per the definition, it should be 400, right? And why it is returning some other client error? Because your developer has implemented the same status code in his code. That's why. So in, let's suppose if you are passing, if you are passing the, let's suppose you miss the first name and the first name is mandatory, or let's suppose instead of string you pass some integer value, you are not following the correct data type as per the requirement, right? And you are getting some other client error. Let's suppose you are getting like unauthorized or 404, right? You are getting some other, or 422 unprocessable entity, right? So you, in your mind, you have the one question, then it is a bug, right? Yeah, your thinking is correct, right? But you can't go and log the bug directly, right? So first thing, you have to discuss this thing with the client, with the developer, that you are not passing the scenario according to the requirement. Okay, so ideally it should be 400 bad request, because it is bad request, right? So it should be 400 bad request, but in our project we are getting some other client error like 422 unprocessable entity, or 41 unauthorized I am getting, or 404. Apart from the 400 bad request, you are getting some other, right? So your client will ask you, or developer will ask you, yeah, we don't have to worry. I know that if the client gives the answer like that, yeah, I know that if you are not passing anything as per the request, it should be 400 bad request. But in our cases, we are returning 40 any other client error, right? So you don't have to worry. They will ask you. You don't have to worry. You can go with that as per the requirement. Okay. So tell me, if they are asking this thing, can you log the bug on the board? If client do not have the problem, because this is the minor issue, at least you are getting the error message. Yeah, if you are passing something invalid and you are able to create the data, then it is a critical issue, right? But you are passing some invalid data or something you are missing and you are getting the error code, at least you are not able to create the data, right? So this is not an even critical or P1 P2 bug, this is a P3 bug, right? So that's why the client will ask you, yeah, I know ideally it should be 400, but we can go with like some other status code, sorry, some other client error also, like 404 not found or 401. They know that. So you have to communicate this thing with your client. If client say no, you have to correct this thing. Let's suppose you are getting 404 not found and client asking you, no, you have to correct this thing, it is a bug, then you have to log the bug on the board as a priority wise, as a P3, low priority. Okay, so you have to first communicate with your client. Okay, now 400 bad request. So in the interview, they will ask you when you are getting the 400 bad request. So you have to explain this thing very nicely when you are getting the 400 bad request. Okay, now coming to the other section, 404 not found. Okay, not found means whenever you created any data, and after creating any data, what you are doing, you are trying to find the data using the ID, using the other query parameter, right? And you are trying to delete the data, right? So the data which you are trying to get or delete or update, if that particular data is not exist into your server inside the particular resource, then you will get the 400, so 404 not found. Okay, let's see it here. So here I have created one data. Data name is Rahul, last name is Singh, and let's try to create. I have created this data and the ID is 18, right? So let's suppose ID is 18, and what you are doing here, you are trying to get the data. So by mistakenly you pass something like 199. So this data is not exist inside this particular resource, right? So in that case, you will get the 404 not found. 404 not found, because that particular data is not exist anymore into your particular resource. Okay, similarly, when you are trying to update your data using patch method or using put method, let's suppose if you pass the valid data, then it's okay, then it will update your data, update your particular data. If you pass some invalid data, the data which is already deleted or data which is not exist, right? So let's suppose this data is not exist into your server inside the particular resource and you are trying to update, right? So you will get the 404 not found. Okay, same thing with the delete also. If it is valid data, the data will get deleted successfully, you will get 200 successful response. If data is not exist, then you will get the not found error. Okay, so whenever anything you are trying to search and that is not exist into your server, then you will get the 404 not found. 404 not found. Clear? Let's suppose here I have passed the wrong resource name. I have removed the EES. Here I have passed the wrong resource name, so it will go inside this particular server and the server will find this particular resource, right? And this particular resource is not exist into your server, then when you connect with the server, it will return you 404 not found, because that particular server is not exist. So I'm not asking only about the ID. Whatever your data is, to search your data, right? You will get, if anything is not found, you will get the 404 not found. Okay,
Because when this forbidden will come, can you tell again? Forbidden status code.
forbidden,
Yeah.
I have
It was
not
written.
explained the forbidden.
Yeah.
Because how like 400 is a client error, but the error is like now the server is look into and you told like explained layer, it will see the host URL, but the resource will be not found and it will return the 404 not found. But this is a client error. No, how they differentiating that it as a like client error and the server error based on like.
Yeah, actually, if they successfully connect with the server, like using the base URL, right? So internally, developer has designed the things actually, right? So they have followed the architect level. They have designed in such a way that, right, they can, if you are getting the successful, then they have set return the 200. If you are getting something like not according to the request, not according to the requirement which they have defined in his coding, right, if anything is not found, then return. It totally depends on the coding, actually, how the developer has designed the coding. Okay, basically. So if you want to look into that, then you have to go connect with the developer and look at his designing, actually,
Yes,
how the
but
internally it's happening.
yes, but it is telling like it's a client errors. All 400 series are, and
Yeah,
500 series are the server error. Means the client side, this is the request we are sending, and in that request, if something issue is there, that since uh, because of that, it is called as client errors, or how it is. That differentiation I did not get.
actually
How they are differentiating.
they have actually it is defined by the API protocol, actually. Okay, if it is client error, then we will use the 400 series. If it is server error, then we have to use 500 series. If it is 20 series, then it is successful. Here you can see in the document they have defined the things. If it is successful, then it is 200. If it is a client error, here you can see there are multiple clients error. Okay, so they have categorized the thing, actually, and the same thing when developer writing the code, they are following the same protocol, actually. They are asking to the server, like, if you are getting something like if data is not match, or data is bad request, or data get conflict, or someone is trying to access your data, in that case return the client error. They have write the code accordingly, and the server will understand accordingly, actually. If anything is from the server side, like server side means your server is down, or network issue, or you are trying to apply the load on the server and your server will get crashed, so that comes under the server error, right? Here in the client error, the issue is not from the server side. The server is properly working. The issue is from your side, actually. If you are passing the bad request, here, if you are passing the bad request, right, whose mistake is this? This is your mistake, right? This is not your server mistake, right? If you are passing bad syntax here, this is the server issue, right? If you are passing the bad bad ID here, right, so this is the issue from your side. You are trying to taste the thing, the server is properly working, right? When you are when there is an issue from the server side, like server is not working, or in the maintenance mode, or your network issue, or server due to the applying the load, server get crash, right? So in that case it will return the 500. So like that they are differentiating internally, actually, depends on the code. Okay, clear, ma'am?
Yes.
Yeah, sir, I have not explained the forbidden, actually, right now. I will explain you. Okay. Yeah. So this thing is clear, right? So whenever anything you are trying to do, and that particular thing is not exist into your server inside the particular resource, right? So in that case, you will get the 404 not found. 404 not found. Okay, then we are moving to the next part.
Because can we restrict the class from 8:30 to 9:30 because getting late for office hours daily?
Yeah, okay then. Yeah,
Can we make it from 8 if you say 8 a.m.?
8 is fine for everyone, or 8:15.
Because, yeah,
Yeah, it's fine.
8 is fine because query is also there, no?
8:15 is fine for everyone.
Yes, Vikas.
It would
So-
be also fine.
Can we connect at 8:15? Is that okay? From
Yes.
tomorrow?
8:15, right?
Sorry, come again.
8:15.
8:15. Yeah, 8:15
that's-
to 9:30. We have the class. Okay,
Yeah, fine, fine.
fine. And if you have the query, then you can connect with me after 9:30. Okay. Fine, guys. 8:15. Everyone agree?
Yes.
Yes.
If
Yes.
anyone is not suitable for him, then we can continue the same time, 8:30 to 9:30. If everyone is agree, then we'll do the class at 8:15. Fine. Okay. So okay, no problem. We can stop the class. Okay. So in tomorrow class, we can discuss the unauthorized and the forbidden. Unauthorized and the forbidden, and the other method also, and the server error also. Okay, so we will meet tomorrow at 8:15. Okay, so
Vikas, you'll be telling as a part of automation, like what all will be covered, like validation, JavaScript,
so
and
as part of the automation, we will cover whatever the things you are getting in the response here, right? We will verify each and every property.
okay.
So right, each and using the assertion, we can match actual and expected, right, with a different scenario, and how we can correlate the things like fetch the ID from here and use the ID here, right? Still there are multiple things are pending actually, but due
Okay.
to the query section, our class is going very slow actually. Okay.
And even the framework also you'll be explaining,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, the framework
Which
also.
framework?
BDD framework in the Postman actually, not use any Eclipse or any IDE. We will use here actually.
BDD framework.
Yeah,
Okay. And reporting also, report
yeah,
also, how will
reporting
be
also
general? Okay.
exactly. Using
Okay.
the Newman, we'll try to generate the report.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
So that's it, guys. Okay. So guys, if you don't do the practice, when I switch to the automation side, I will not explain you the basic concept, because I have spent a lot of time behind the basic concept. Okay, so please do the practice and make the clear concept. Okay, so thank you guys. I think most probably we'll start the automation testing from 13. Tomorrow I will explain you HTTP status code, and if not get finished, then we will take 12 also. Then from 13 we will start the automation testing. 13 and this whole weeks, and the next week also. Okay, clear? Okay guys, thank you. Have a nice day. Bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.